The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful. Time to cover all things Minnesota. It's The Take with Blois Olson on the Al Travis Show. If it's news in Minnesota, he knew about it 20 minutes ago.
Blois, I appreciate you being on the show, my friend.
Happy to be here, Al.
It is our pleasure, especially with a busy weekend coming up. I want to talk a little golf first, if we can. Did you happen to catch the PGA Championship?
I mean, I caught the highlights.
Yeah.
I was playing myself yesterday during the impressive performance by Scotty Scheffler, clearly the number one golfer in the world.
I think that is true. Here's the question I was going to have for because I watched the highlights.
Wait. Al?
What?
You think it's true that he's the best player in the world?
No, I think that's true for now. He is. The guy is amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's what was ESPN this morning, yesterday, I don't remember what day it was, but I saw one of the guys doing a big Scotty Scheffler interview. Maybe you're just kissing up. Maybe that's it. But he said Arnie, Tiger, and Scheffler, comparing them as guys who, even when they're not on their day, they can win tournaments. Is Scotty Scheffler with Tiger and Arnie already? I don't know that I'm up there.
He's trending that way.
Well, yeah, okay, whoever's world number one at the time is trending. I'm impressed with the kid.
No. This is multiple months, years of dominance. Being like he's going on 2 years of dominating the tour, Al.
Okay, and how long did Arnie and Tiger do it?
Why are you such a skeptic when right before your eyes?
Oh, he's fun to watch. Yeah,
his greatness. Why are you skeptic?
Because I guess I've seen plenty of people fall off. Lefty, whatever his name was, Lefty, he fell off. The Shark was there for a long time and he fell off.
Whatever.
This is golf. Okay.
No.
All right, I could be
You're
wrong.
losing your golf cred.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you this. I want to go back in time. The agenda today is covered, by the way, with great stories. Get it. But I want to start, was it Friday when the governor and the heads of each department... Thursday, thank you, came out and announced that they had reached a number, that they got the big architecture squared away. And you guys covered it very well on Friday. That's why I guess I'm thinking Friday. You covered it well on Friday, but I tuned in and saw, I watched it, and at some point you start hearing the banging on the door, and you're like, you could see that the guy speaking of like, uh-oh, what's that? And you knew it wasn't the Republicans, and I always say that, and Republicans were 1/6 of everything. So 5/6 of the people had to have been the Democrats. They were steamed at this announcement. 30 of them ish were literally beating on the door to get in. Is that a miscalculation by the head of the Democrats that they missed it by that much, or that they didn't tell those people it's going to come, but don't worry and we'll make you happy in the end? How do you get to a point that your own team is banging at the door?
I don't know, miscalculation. Look, I think it's the risk reward of the deal and the moderating of Governor Walz. Here's what I predict, Al.
Okay.
This is a Al Travis Show exclusive.
Love this.
When Governor Walz has to defend us, he's going to say, well, Illinois and California had to do the same thing, so clearly I'm not alone.
And that answer placates who? Not the 30 on the left.
The left is not going to be happy about this. This is they've drawn a line in the sand, and the issue we're talking about is undocumented immigrant health care, and whether or not the state should offer it through Minnesota Care, which is taxpayer subsidized. Mm-hmm. Republicans drew a line in the sand, said, we don't want that. It's going to grow out of control. We don't want to pay for that. And Democrats had to compromise. Compromise is hard. But this is what I've been saying for a while, is that it's the internal politics of the parties that's sometimes harder than the politics of Democrat versus Republican. And ultimately, the deal that got announced is a deal because both sides compromised and they have to govern. That's the thing that the activist crowds don't understand. They have to govern. Are Democrats going to shut down state government? Are they going to die on that hill for health care for undocumented immigrants? We'll see.
Well, see, and this is the interesting point for me. What was his name? Senator Fatah, right? Did the Uber thing last year, and he was willing to stand on it. like him or not, he stands on his principle. He stands for what he stands for right to the bitter end, and he got his Uber deal. He's one of those on this side of the 30 that say, hey, we got this deal when we had the money. It's finally a right. We don't want to give it up. He's on that side. Do you think Senator Hortman can deliver that?
Well, first of all, Senator Hortman is a representative.
Yes, thank you.
I think you're referring to Senator Murphy.
Thank you. Yes.
And I don't know. That is the biggest question of the next couple of days. Can Senator Murphy deliver? Or what do Republicans in the Senate get? Because they did not sign the deal. So they get to still negotiate a little, and they've been doing that behind the scenes all weekend.
And that's Johnson, right? He's the one major player that didn't show up to the party to discuss what had happened because he didn't sign
Correct.
it. So is that really a deal? If everybody's not in, is it a deal? Because now there's some movement. Well, the news today, they're not getting done today, correct?
They're not getting done today. But remember, Al, they said, well, maybe we can. This is my other Bloisism of the morning.
Okay.
They kept acting like they were going to get done. Any veteran who'd ever watched the legislature knew they weren't going to get done.
Yeah.
And by the way, these are the moments when the public loses faith.
Sure.
Because they can see with their own eyes that it's not going to happen, but yet they say it's going to happen. And so it doesn't. And then everybody's like, oh, they tried really hard. Well, they did try, but they weren't going to get done. And so don't act like you're going to do something if you can't do it.
Can I ask you your thoughts on why they took so long to get to that point? Thursday's when that was done, and if it's quote-unquote done, the deal was made. You're talking only 4 or 5 days anyway until Monday, and they have to have everything done. Why is the legislature set up backwards in my mind? Figure out what that number is going to be and the big problems that you're going to have, and then everybody can go to committee and work out the difference. It seems backwards to me.
Al, the system is what the system is. You've watched it long enough.
Yep.
If you want to change it, put your name on the ballot.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want to do that. But
You don't want to do the hard work, Al.
That's why I'm in radio. Yes, you're absolutely 100% correct. 100%.
I am well aware of this morning.
All right. The stickler then, before we get much further down the road, the ones, this is the medical health care for undocumented immigrants. What were the other ones that we were talking about last week? Paid family leave. Is that
pieces? There's some education pieces. I think the budget as a whole is pretty much decided. They just have to work out the details. Reinsurance on healthcare. How do you fund healthcare in the market? Because of you want premiums to stay down for those people who buy it on the open market. But it's like a box of puzzle pieces. And I will tell you that they got the border done. They did most of the fill. They're looking under the table for the pieces that are missing right now, and they don't know where they are. Are they in the old shag carpet, Al? I think they might be in the old.
Did the darn cat
eat the vacuum pick them up?
That's horrible to say because this is going to be. Do you believe that they are now calling, saying even with the special session that we want to be done then by next Monday, Memorial Day? Can they pull that off?
I want to be a +10 golfer.
All right, then the next is, can they get this done before the end of June, before the shutdown time?
I think they can. They've gotten a lot done. Okay. I think they've gotten a lot done. They just haven't gotten the biggest pieces done, and obviously the biggest pieces are the toughest. I think there's a willingness to do that, and I think they'll break down and try to figure that out. I also think Republicans have some momentum and some ability to get some things. And we always knew this was going to have bipartisan votes to pass. It just may need more bipartisan votes in the Senate to pass. And in order to get that, they may have more leverage. Maybe they'll get some spending reductions. Maybe they'll get a tax relief here. Maybe they'll get some fraud supervision, stuff like that.
Where do the Blue Dog Dems sit in all this? Could they make the difference and fall, if you will, the Republicans' way, and the Republicans throw it up there and say, here's our budget that we quote-unquote almost all agreed on? Will any of those step over the line and make it happen?
I think ultimately that's possible. I think there's three factions within the Senate Democrats. There's the Blue Dogs, which is 6 quote-unquote moderates. There is the Posse Caucus, people of color and indigenous. And then there's the rest. And I think the rest are like totally stuck between the other two.
Not much they can do or say, just sit around and wait till it's all done. It'll be interesting to see who folds and who does not. Would you give either side at this point the win? What I guess I'm thinking, the Republicans said, Speaker Dameth, we were not going to raise taxes. For the most part, she wins, except they did raise it on marijuana. I just think most people are going to say, okay, you want to smoke your marijuana, pay more taxes. I don't know if the world gets upset about it.
Well, we don't know that that's going to happen yet. That's part of the agreement.
Yeah.
The tax bill has not been finalized. Wins. Look, I think this is like a tie at the end of a soccer match. Everybody goes, ugh. And I also think that Republicans are going to run on the fact that they cut government more than ever before.
Yeah.
Democrats are going to run on they protected their trophies like earned safe and sick time and some of those other pieces that are sacred to Democrats. But nobody's running around the state with a victory lap. Okay. And remember 2 years ago when Governor Walz and Democrats had that ceremony on the Capitol?
Yes.
Yeah, there's not going to be one of those.
Not one of those. Okay, that's fair enough.
No drones flying over for campaign videos.
I love the soccer analogy, by the way. Have you been working on that? Because that's actually perfect. 0-0 tie, you're kind of disappointed, and somebody's going to come out and tell you we're going to play overtime, but not tell you how much time's on the clock. It's one of my most frustrating thing about soccer.
You took the metaphor even farther, and for the first time on Monday morning, Al, you made your own show better.
We'll go to break. We'll be back after this.
Dust from gravel roads and driveways does more than make your car dirty inside and out. It gets down into your lungs, and it's bad for your health. Now there's an environmentally friendly solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Block. Dust Block can control all your summer dust problems with just one application. Protect your vehicle and your lungs. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
amongst friends. The Al Travis Show. Nothing but talk.
Hey, we've got him, Blois Olson with the Daily Agenda, talking all things in the news today. Friday, Senator Franzen took herself out of the running for the Senate seat that Tina Smith has vacated. Your thoughts on that? Seems pretty early to get out. I mean, after you just got in 3-4 weeks ago.
You know, I never saw a path for her to be successful.
Okay.
I respect people who put their name on the ballot, but it was always going to be an uphill battle. I think she saw the fundraising from Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and Representative Craig and said this is going to be really hard. She probably started talking to delegates. They weren't going to be with her either. So I guess better to get out quick.
Yeah.
Fail fast, Al. That's what they say. Fail fast.
You know, and it's a good point, and she probably has something to fall, and she's a pretty smart gal. We actually, just quick programming note, she's going to be on Wednesday with us to discuss that, why she came out and that sort of thing, and where she's going to go from here. We're going to try to get her on as a regular, but she backed out on Friday. The other note...
Here's one for you. Al.
All right.
Another Al Travis exclusive from Blois Olson. Don't be surprised if she is Governor Walz's running mate.
Ooh. You know, that wouldn't be a bad idea for him. Blois, thank you very much for sharing that. I love that. One last thing, you brought up Governor Walz. I spent the weekend at graduations. St. Thomas graduated. I had my son graduate law school there. Sat through that whole thing and all the speeches. And I'm going to be quite honest, they were the exact opposite of evidently of what the speech Walz gave to the University of Minnesota law students. He talked about Gestapos and all that Trump is doing wrong, and then he said he had to be honest with these people. You're graduating into a genuine emergency. Not exactly the uplifting speech you'd hope when you're graduating, is it? And why would he do why such negativity out of Walz?
Well, I can't explain every time he gives a speech, it's an opportunity to say something that raises his profile. And so you're speaking at a public university law school graduation. You play to your audience. How many conservatives are in that audience? Probably not that many.
Correct.
Play to your audience, get the sound bites. We'll see. Now, if he gives that speech at the St. Thomas Law School graduation, there's probably some sneers and some bickering and snickering and, so you got to play the audience. I mean, he's still every time he gives a national speech, he's testing lines. He's going to South Dakota. He's going to South Carolina. He's going to California for big speeches. Al, I predict he will try to make news with those speeches.
Okay. So then let's go back to what we were chatting about with Senator Franzen. So she jumps on board as his VP, Lieutenant Governor, to get to be the governor. They win that. Then he's still running for. I mean, if he's doing this, he's running for a bigger office. What, to let her walk into the governorship? Is that what she would be looking at?
Well, I mean, a lot of things have to happen before anybody's walking into the governorship. Just ask Peggy Flanagan.
Yeah, it's a good point. Point well taken. I'm just saying that if Senator
Al, just pace yourself here, okay?
Well,
we got 2026, then we got 2027, then we got 2028.
Okay, but you're Franzen, and you looked at it and you thought, I'm going to get into this Senate race. She dives in. I think she really wanted this thing. Within two other people getting it, she's boxed in. She's got to step out. If the Blois Olson take, which I love, is Governor Walz has come with me, doesn't she almost have to look and see, well, you're kind of playing it like you want to be a president, not governor. I mean, that's what it looks like anyway. And does she want to join that?
I mean, I think the guy wants to be president.
Oh, I don't fault him for that.
But remember, he had never thought about being president before.
Well, once they come begging, then you almost have to think about it. Blois,
so we'll see.
Blois, I appreciate you doing this. I really do. How does somebody get the daily agenda? There are 5-6 of them you can sign up for. They come some once a day, some a couple times a week.
You go to thedailyagenda.com. Go to thedailyagenda.com, and it should all work out for you.
Appreciate you being there, my friend.
See ya.
He's Blois Olson on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meat